You're listening to Linked AM. Tell your story on Linked Live and get noticed. You're listening to Karl Wolfenden on the Business Class Show and is not always affiliated with the guests and the topics discussed. Any financial statements are the opinions of the individual, and you should seek professional advice before making any decisions. Upgrade your listening to Business Class, the show that puts you in the big leather comfy seats. So sit back and enjoy our take on the trending business issues of the week.
Howdy, folks. Here he is, the Texas Brit, the guy with the stiff upper lip, filling his 10-gallon hat and his cowboy boots, Karl Wolfenden.
Good morning, and welcome to Linked AM here on Business Class News. And it's another Wednesday. Yes, it's Wednesday here, and it's Hump Day, as they say, Hump Day. And what we've been identifying over the past few weeks is different areas that we're starting to see appear in the workforce. And we're talking about operational side. We're looking at marketing. We looked at different types of business, and unfortunately, sometimes it gets to a point where it gets pretty stressful, and you can start to feel a bit closed in, especially in these unusual times of COVID. As a lot of people know, I am involved in the Drug Prevention Resource Organization here in the States, and really that's identifying drugs and alcoholism, etc. And one of the things I think we've got to all be mindful of is sometimes things get stressful in the work. And I wanted to bring somebody on that was actually, looking at this in a positive way within their organization. And I brought Kim Winters on to the show. Kim, thank you for joining me. Of course, Kim, you're with Lathrop GPM, our friends over at the law firm over there. And, we were talking off mic about, how stressful sometimes being a lawyer and listening to all these different cases, etc., can be. And you said, well, actually, you particularly are leading an initiative within the organization to really, be positive and to help people. Is that right? I mean, explain what you're actually doing.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. So about, I guess it's been a year ago now, I was talking to my managing partner about some very stressful things that were going on in my personal life. And he sort of looked at me and was like, how are you so good? Like, I feel like you should be in the fetal position under your desk right now or something. And I told him that a few months ago, I had found this mindful meditation program, and it was free. Basically, you buy the book, it's a book group, you learn to meditate. And he was like, this is amazing. This is the best thing. We need to bring this. I see how you are responding to this and how great you seem to be feeling, and despite things that are going on in your life, and I want to bring it to the whole firm. So that was sort of the impetus of the program. And we've been doing it ever since. It's a 6-week mindful meditation program that sort of centers around this book called The Inner Matrix by Joey Klein. And so we meet once a week for an hour and a half and discuss different chapters in the book. And we do a group meditation. And then people are encouraged to do meditation for 20 minutes a day.
So this is, amazing, because the book, I think, goes into, the process that you have to go through. And what you've done is you've embraced that and then put it into the culture of your organization, Lathrop GPM. One of the things I think that we all get sort of wrapped up in sometimes is the day-to-day, life of business. And sometimes we don't stop. we don't sort of say, okay, I've got to really try and sort of reflect on not just where I'm going, but where I am today as such. And is that what the meditation piece, that process does?
That's a lot of it. I mean, I have to say I'm not a mental health expert and I'm not an expert on meditation, but this is what I have done and I've seen what it can do in my own life and I've seen how much it has helped people around me at work, friends, different people that I've had join me do this. It's amazing to me the difference. And I have noticed, so when I started doing this, I was meditating 20 minutes a day, sort of at different random times in the day, just whenever I could fit it in. I might do it before I went to bed or in the morning, just whenever it happened to work. I've now gotten into more of a routine where I make sure when I get up in the morning, I do 20 minutes to sort of set my intention for the day, kind of clear my mind, think of my to-do list, but also just focus. What is it I want to feel today? What is it I want to achieve today? And so get your mind sort of in the right mode to go forward and tackle all of these tasks that you have. So you're not completely overwhelmed out of the gate when you've got 100 emails that came in overnight, or you've got multiple phone calls or multiple deadlines. It just helps to make you more centered. It helps me to de-stress and to think about things in a much more calm way. And I have noticed that when I miss a day, I try not to miss a day, but if I do miss a day, I can instantly tell the difference the next day. I'm much more reactive. I feel more stressed out and less centered. I'm not able to react to things the way that I would choose to react. You might fly off the handle because, your kids did something that you didn't like or whatever. Whereas when I'm meditating every day, I feel much more in control of my response to things.
Well, I think especially in this unusual time where a lot of people are at home and they're remote working and they're doing Zoom or they're doing Skype or they're doing whatever to communicate. We're communicating now through our remote studio. But it's not the same of having you in the studio where, we could sit down on the set and actually just have a conversation one-on-one. It has that different feel. And I think, when you work from home, you talk about those 100 emails. It's now become, it's not 100 emails, it's 1,000 emails. And I'm actually in the house. The office is here. So I have to respond.
There's no escape. They know you're there.
They do. They know that you're there. And I think that's one of the key things of this new normal. We're praying that it's going to actually, become the old normal. But
right.
But I don't know when that will come. But I think the problem you have when you work from home is there's no line. There's no divider line. There's a thing of it gets blurred. Okay, I'm going to go into my office, and then I'm going to walk out into the living room, which is also my office because I have my laptop there. So you can't get away from it. So you say you get together with your colleagues as such. Do you do that through Zoom or through an online portal? Is that how you get everybody together?
We do. So when we first started doing this about a year ago, we started in the Kansas City office, which is where I office, and we were doing them in person because, like you said, there's definitely a difference between sharing and being right next to somebody and being, on Zoom or on the phone or whatever. So the way we preferred to do it was in person. We would have, and everyone was welcome. Everybody in that office was welcome. It could be, and we had so many people joining us that I didn't even expect, and I absolutely loved it. It was amazing. We had partners, we had associates, paralegals, legal assistants, we had HR, IT, accounting, reception. I mean, literally everyone, every facet of the firm was represented in these groups, which was so amazing because I never get the opportunity to talk to people in these other. Mm-hmm. So it was awesome. And the fact that people were so willing to open up and share was astounding to me. It was better than I could have possibly expected. People were very authentic and open and willing to share things that, might be a little uncomfortable, but they wanted to work on. And the book really helps to do that. And the group meditation, I feel like, was really helpful to some people. A lot of people say, oh, I just can't meditate. I can't do it. I have tried and I can't do it. I have had my own kids I've tried to get to do it, and they've said, like, I can't do it. But when you do it in a group setting, there's something about that group consciousness, I think, and the group, just being surrounded by other people that are doing the same thing. There's just a different energy in the room. It makes it what I found is it makes it easier for those people that say, oh, I can't meditate, I can't sit by myself for 20 minutes or whatever. But when you're in a group and everybody's doing it, I think that sort of gives everyone permission and sort of helps everyone get into that mode and do that. So we started out in person, and we had several. And we started in Kansas City, and then we spread to other offices. We had St. Louis, we had Boston, Chicago, Minneapolis, Los Angeles. I mean, we've been all over, Denver, Boulder. All of our offices were doing this, and it was in person. So when COVID started, we're all online now. We're all working remotely, except for, a handful of people that have to go to the office. So it occurred to me, well, why don't I just open this all up? I don't need to separate it by office. There's no reason to. So when COVID-19 started and we were all working at home, we sent out an email to the entire firm explaining, this program, and if maybe they've participated already in their office, locally, maybe they haven't. Either way, every single person in the firm, literally every person in the firm, is invited to participate. And we did it through Zoom. And so we have someone as a facilitator, someone from Joey Klein's company called Conscious Transformation. He has different facilitators for these groups. And so we would have a facilitator, and then I would be the host, and we would just have these Zoom meetings. And it's surprisingly, it's worked out really well. Like, I still feel like it's maybe not quite as open as it would be in person, which is understandable, but we encourage everyone to be on video. Yep. It's so we can see your facial expression and get a little bit more of that personality. And people are great about sharing. And if they weren't comfortable sharing out loud, they could type, in the chat anonymously to the facilitator, and then she or he could sort of go through, okay, well, I got this comment, let's talk about that. So it's worked out.
That's amazing.
Well.
That's really good. I mean, it just shows that technology is actually, helping. It's not the complete answer, I don't think, but it's helping. Now, it's something you touched on a second ago, which I think is awesome. We've had many segments on the show about, culture, inclusion, diversification, etc. And I think, what I'm hearing here is this is helping you sort of get together all these different types of departments and different types of people to actually help with the culture of Lathrop GPM. Is that what I'm hearing you say? Absolutely.
I feel like Lathrop GPM has always had sort of a reputation for being, I don't know the right way to phrase it. Sort of, we're
an inclusive organization.
Yeah, I feel like it's been very friendly, very family friendly, very like we expect people to get things done. You obviously you have to fulfill whatever role you have at the firm, but people have always been very understanding about needing your personal time, family time. They're actually we've been encouraging people to take time off during this time because, like you said, you're never leaving. So you're in your house, you're in your office. It's a blurred line. So we've been encouraging people, don't just, not take any time off. Like, even if you're staying at home, take time off. If you would normally take a summer vacation, take a summer vacation. You don't have to go anywhere. But and we've been encouraging people just to do a sort of check-ins by Zoom. We have firm happy hours and things like that by Zoom. So, we are encouraging more of that inclusivity, but it was really fascinating to me. And I love the fact that we had so many different departments and so many different people that I would never have seen otherwise participate in these groups. And then you get to, you share so much with them in these groups. So it's beyond just, well, I worked with this person, that I wouldn't have normally worked with. No, like if they want to share whatever it is they want to share, I'm getting to know this person on a whole nother level. So it's been great.
I think one of the things about in a lot of the conversations I've had, who people have embraced culture, is it's all about teamwork. And teamwork doesn't always mean the department works with another department. Sometimes you don't know what that department does that actually does help you
Right.
as such. And getting to know people is a fundamental success story in its own right. And I think by what you're doing is you're embracing people's feelings and helping them get through the day, through the week as such, which is great. And I'm gonna go and grab that book because I wanna read it, because I think it's called The Inner Matrix, is it, by
Yes.
Joey Klein? That's the book.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I might have to
Yeah.
reach out to Joey and have him on the show as well, so that we can
That
have
would be great.
So if you can help me do that, that would be perfect.
I absolutely can help you do that.
That's perfect.
He's an amazing speaker. He's
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people out there, I think they are struggling inside with okay, I've got to get this done, but then it eats away at you. And I applaud you for what you've done. And I think one of the things we all have to remember is that work isn't everything, but it also pays the bills.
Right.
But if
Right.
you can make work enjoyable and fun and have a sort of an enjoyable environment that you enjoy going back to every day, because you spend most of your life working in the early days, it makes it so much easier. And you get a better job done. And I think that's another key thing, isn't it? If you're happy or happier as such, then you do a better job. And that's what, at the end of the day, you want, because you'll keep your job. The company will still thrive and do well.
Right.
And you've got a place you can go back to, and you've got friends there. And that you've got a relationship
Exactly.
with people.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, one of my intentions when I first started this program for the firm was to kind of build that stickiness, to build this camaraderie and to have this deeper connection with people in the firm, throughout the firm, so that people would understand that, okay, this firm really cares about me and they care about my mental health and my well-being, and they want this to be it's a stressful job. I mean, lawyers have stressful jobs, right? I mean, that's a given. We all know that. I think lawyers and dentists are like the top for whatever reason. I don't know, because you're like in someone's
I can
mouth.
understand lawyers, but dentists, maybe, I don't know. I'm stressed out when I go to the dentist. But
Right? So yeah. Anyway, I read that recently that lawyers and dentists are the sort of the top two for being very stressed out, having alcohol abuse problems, unhealthy coping mechanisms, things like that, a higher depression rate. So to be able to bring something like this to the law firm and destigmatize meditation and let people know that we genuinely care about this stuff, and let them talk about their feelings, and let them embrace being happy, sad, whatever it is, just identifying what it is and deciding how you want to feel. And there's different tools that you learn through this program. There's some simple breathing techniques and some different things that sort of teach you how to shut down when your mind is having these thoughts of, oh, I'm never going to get this done. I'm completely overwhelmed. How am I going to do this? I can't deal with another phone call, another email, another deadline, whatever it is. There are all these techniques that you learn, very simple techniques, with breathing and some different things, that you can shift that. If you recognize that it's happening, you stop, you get centered, takes 30 seconds maybe, or a minute, and you can shift out of that and feel better, like immediately, with these very simple tools. So it's been absolutely amazing. I'm so thankful that I found this work when I did, because it would not be easy to be here, never getting to leave, if I didn't have this ability to use these tools and center myself and focus and realize, okay, I'm not upset because I got this email, right? I can choose how I respond, and I don't need to fire back some nasty response to something because that's my gut reaction. I can I can take 10 seconds to center myself, and then I don't have a response that I later regret. That sort of thing.
I love
And
that. I love
sorry.
that. So, you carry on.
No, I was just going to say, and when do you ever talk, maybe you have, but in my life, I don't think I've ever talked about my feelings with anyone, let alone people at work. I mean, when are you encouraged to learn about the way you feel and to talk about it? For me, it never happened. So to have this space where you can read the book that talks about some of the brain science and some of the, why this practice helps to do what it is that it does, and to share stories with everybody. And one thing I've learned in doing this, and I've now been a part of every single one of the 6-week programs, which have been going on for a year. So I've done a lot of these. Sometimes multiple offices were going on at once. You learn that we're all the same. I mean, there are nuances here and there, of course, and we have different stories. But the patterns, these emotional patterns, we all are sharing sort of the same experiences. It may come out a little bit differently, like anger may show up in a different way, or someone may have sadness where someone would have anger in the same place, whatever it is. But you get to realize that we really are all the same, and we have the same issues. I've had associates comment that when they heard me talk about this stuff and feeling overwhelmed or anxious or whatever it is, that made them feel so much freer. Like, oh, I'm so glad it's not just me. Like, okay, I'm sitting here thinking I'm never going to make partner because I'm so anxious about this, that, and the other. And then you have your partner say, well, yeah, we all feel that way. That's the way it is. So I just feel like it's been very free to people.
Well, I think what you just said is absolutely right, because certain things eat away inside us, and if we don't release that and have somebody to talk to, and most of the time people don't have the opportunity to do that, so that's great. But then it also opens up, as you said, the opportunity for colleagues and associates around you to say, okay, well, I'm actually going through the similar thing. So, I, as you say, I'm not alone. Well, Kim, I really appreciate you joining me this morning. This has been an awesome conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that to your organization and bringing it to the audience, because I'm sure that they I want to actually do the same thing, because in this, as I say, the strange time we're in, everyone needs to have a release, and this program, and it has to be systematic. You can't just do it one day, as you say, and then leave it another. So, Kim, thank you for joining me, and I really hope I can get Joey Klein on the show, because it'd be a great follow up to this conversation. So, thank you for bringing this conversation to Linked AM.
Thank you.
Well, that was Kim Winter, and she, of course, is at Lathrop GPM. And we just touched on some and it's very important to actually start to look at, the things that are around us and how we can actually just stop for a moment and use that 6-week process that Kim does with her colleagues over at Lathrop GPM. So I'm going to put all the details on the website, and I'll put a link to the book as well, because I think that's something that I think a lot of people should take a look at. So, as I always say at the end of the show, go and make some money, be successful, but have some fun. And in this case, go and actually relax and just go and have a cup of coffee. Just stop for a moment before you answer that email and fire off a response that maybe you don't want to do. So have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.